Sublimation, or how art helps. What do you do when you feel something so strongly that you're about to explode? Do you try to take your mind off it and to ignore your feelings? Can you just move on and suddenly forget how you were feeling? On the one hand, doing this might keep you from making the mistakes people usually make when they get too emotional. But on the other hand, when you suppress your feelings, you turn them inward, and eventually you might hurt yourself. Here's how this happens. Your negative feelings are like a little angry dude that gets inside your head when something goes wrong. He kicks and screams inside you, demanding that you let him out. If you do, you risk turning people against you and being rejected. But if you keep him in, sometimes he keeps kicking and screaming inside your head until you start feeling pretty bad. He might direct that anger towards you instead. And then you start feeling bad about yourself. Your self-esteem drops. And putting on a happy face can start feeling like a real tough task. Some scientists say that when those bad feelings are bottled up, you can actually start feeling physically sick. You get what they call somatic symptoms. But let's not go there for now. Sometimes expressing your bad feelings is fine when you're around people you can trust and who understand you. But what can you do when you can't just let yourself express your feelings? When doing so is unsafe or can lead to bad consequences? Psychotherapists know one way of dealing with those feelings, where you don't only blow off steam, but you actually direct that negative energy towards creating something that others maybe can appreciate. Many artists, poets, musicians, dancers, and other creative people know this answer too. In psychological terms, this has a really long fancy name, sublimation. But what it really means is that when you strongly feel something bad, that you use other ways, indirect ways to express it. Maybe you draw your anger. You write a poem about that girl that you can't ask out because she's dating your friend. Maybe you dance away your worries about a test that you're afraid to even think about. Or you write a song about the sad feelings that you wish you could share with someone, but are afraid that they just wouldn't get it. You might be surprised how your negative feelings can feed your creativity. And what's more, you're turning your negativity and difficult feelings into something that others can enjoy and appreciate too. No one can blame you for sublimating your negativity because it's a form of safe, indirect expression. It's productive because you channel your feelings to create something. This is what makes sublimation so useful. Your negativity is symbolically transformed into a sad poem or the angry drawing, the lonesome song you wrote, or when you were dancing to shake off the worry. The most beautiful part of it, that others might not only appreciate your creativity, but actually relate to what you were feeling, no matter how negative. And the truth is, the strongest feelings, no matter how sad or destructive, have inspired some of the most powerful art that humanity has ever created. Think about Frida Kahlo. She knew this. Her paintings were based on so many painful feelings and disappointments, like the terrible physical pain that she lived with every day, or the unfaithfulness of her husband. And yet we look at her paintings now and admire her as one of the best artists who ever lived because she had the courage to feel, and not only to feel, but to show us her feelings through her art too. So even when we struggle to express our pain, just looking at her artworks can make us feel understood. To understand the idea of sublimation using your own experience, take some art tools and create a representation of the feeling that you're most afraid to talk about. Think about what would be the best way to represent it symbolically. Maybe it's a scene from your life. Maybe it's a symbol that represents the feeling that you're struggling with. Maybe it's an abstract work that uses shapes and colors to represent emotions that you're struggling with. Or maybe it's just a picture of a face with an expression that shows how you feel on the inside. Be creative and try not to think about it too much. Just let it out, let that feeling out inside of you as spontaneously as you can. And at the end, make sure you spend some time looking at it. You'd be surprised how satisfying it might feel and how much more deeply you can understand yourself.